Hello, welcome to Season 5, Episode 2, Reacting to Puppet History. Last week was interesting, so, I can't wait to see what they're getting up to today. Let's get into it.
Welcome one and all to Puppet History! Today we're taking an ever-winding look at yet another chapter in the heavy book we call History, while our guests ruthlessly compete for the coveted title of History Master. I'm your beloved host, the Professor!
No, you're not.
Thank you!
I don't
Ryan
think that's
Bergara,
actually the
are you ready?
Just my life now again, huh? This is it? We're back. Why is there chains on the box now?
Don't worry about the box.
The chains weren't there last week.
Don't touch the box.
Also,
I'm just gonna see what the
background's
chains-
different from staying at my mom's.
Stay away from the box! Sit down!
Jesus.
Special guest Brian David Gilbert, are you ready?
Another
I
Ryan.
am here to win.
Oh, Brian.
Then let's crack
Never
in!
mind. Ignore me. Okay.
Well, to begin, is your hometown known for anything in particular? Chicago has its deep dish pizza and beautiful bean. Paris is the city of lights and litter. And New York has its people who love to tweet. What about where you grew up?
I grew up just outside Baltimore, which is mostly known for crabs and celebrities who are a bit off-kilter.
Okay.
Let's see, I guess we're known for the best Asian food this side of the Mississippi, perhaps best Asian food in the United States. We also have that funny racetrack where they filmed the motion picture Seabiscuit with Tobey Maguire.
Is that the one where all the horses die all the time?
I think that's the place where all the horses die.
Yeah. All right, well, moving along. Well, our story is about a European city.
Also,
Prague,
if you hear
which is known
racket
for
in the
all kinds of
background,
things.
that's my cat.
It's the mother of cities, according to Wikipedia. But today, we're focusing on one particularly interesting tradition. Brace yourselves. We're talking about the defenestrations of Prague. Ah, fabulous Prague, the capital of the Czech Republic and one of the cultural centers of Europe. Established more than 1,000 years ago, the one-time home of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart is known for its stunning architecture, world-class museums, and Central Europe's oldest university, Charles University.
Nice.
Sort of a boring name for a university.
It sounds like it's old, though. You know, were you a student there?
I got my master's there.
What was the master's in?
Just a sort of being
Douchebag?
What?
Do they give masters in that?
Right.
You'd have to ask him. He has all the accreditation in that satchel.
Right. I mean, he's gonna win anyway, so.
Now, to
Rotten
begin,
jelly bean?
a modern mystery. In the wake of World War II, Czechoslovakia fell to a communist coup d'etat on February 25th, 1948. At the request of the now former president, Foreign Minister Jan Masaryk chose to stick around, a bid to keep a drop of order under the violent new regime. 3 weeks later, on the morning of March 10th, Masaryk's body was discovered in the street outside his second-floor service apartment, dressed only in his bathrobe.
He wasn't napping, right? He was dead.
He was dead.
Okay.
He was
The
dead.
new communist regime ruled it a suicide, but everyone suspected foul play, with forensics experts as recently as 2004 indicating the probability of murder. The one thing everyone can agree on, Jan Masaryk had been defenestrated. Before we go any further, and since it's the whole topic today, please define defenestration.
I was just about to ask
Never
you
even
what that
heard
means.
the word until today, which is probably bad.
Looks like I'm gonna get this one wrong. Oh boy.
Big smart guys. Are you locked in?
I guess.
Ryan, what do you got?
Kind of like defiled, like they killed them and then they defiled their body.
Ew.
Okay. And Brian?
Merriam-Webster's defines it as yeet out the window.
Eat out the window! A jelly bean for Brian!
Oh man.
Yes, defenestration is literally the act of chucking a person out a window.
They have a word for that specific scenario? That's odd to me. How often is that happening that they were like, we need to make a word for this?
Well, to help you understand this whole defenestration thing, let's direct our attention to the example window. So,
Is someone gonna get thrown through
tossing
it?
someone through that, right? What's better than just tossing them against a wall or across the room? I bet you can already feel it in your hands, the weight of someone begging you not to throw them out the window. But you're not listening. Your mind's made up. This clown's gonna feel the wind through their hair the hard way.
We could test it out right now, Professor, if you want.
What are you talking about? On me? Don't be nasty. Come on. Well, that's what happened to Jan Masaryk anyways. A sorry fate for Masaryk, who by all accounts
you already
sounded
killed him,
nothing
Ryan.
short of yonderful. Though he was only the latest in a string of high-profile Czech government officials to take the train through the pain. Next stop, the 1400s! Choo-choo! We're going back in time.
Backwards train.
It's like a Quentin Tarantino movie
Yeah.
out here. What do you guys know about the 1400s?
About as much as I need to these days, I think.
Before the 1500s,
Yes.
after the 1300s?
Yeah, sounds right.
Wouldn't want to live there.
Come here, sweet boy.
No Wi-Fi.
Well, at the end of the 14th/beginning of the 15th century, there was only one thing people could talk about. All the dang popes!
I'm still talking about the popes.
Oh, you love it. They're funny little hats. Sometimes they're small, sometimes they're real big. The Roman Catholic Church was cracking like a communion wafer during the Western Schism, which led to multiple popes, each with his own sacred college of cardinals, offices, and, of course, throngs of religious supporters. There was Pope Gregory
Hi, sweet boy.
XII, anti-Pope Alexander V, and anti-Pope Benedict XIII. Now, those three popes were just the ones fighting to lead the Catholic clergy. Picking up the sheep that didn't find their way into those three flocks were the indigals, the Protestants and religious reformers who felt the Catholic Church needed more changes than a menage a trois of popes could implement. Among this group of non-popes was, of course, the most important 15th century Czech religious reformer. Let's all say his name together.
John.
Jacob
Nathan.
Jingleheimer Schmidt.
What? You guys do know the name of the most important 15th century Czech religious reformer, right? A.
His name is my
Jan
name, too.
Hus. B. Hans Aus. Or C. Aun Jus.
He's just making noises.
Yeah,
What was the first one again?
Jan Hus.
Okay.
If you need clarification on the other ones, I can always
Okay.
provide.
No, I already did my Inny Mini Money Mo.
What do you think he is?
Ryan, what do you got?
Inny Mini Money Mo said A, Jan Hus, and I like that because it rhymes with
nope.
au juice.
Say it with me. It's
Going with B.
Jan Hus.
Jan Hus. Still
Jan
rhymes with
Hus.
au juice. That's the reason why I like it, because I
Au
love au
juice.
juice.
Jan Hus.
Dip my French dips in those. Dip
Yeah.
the hell out of them.
Ryan, what do you got?
I went with C. Oh, use
Aun Jus.
again for me.
Aun Jus.
One more time.
Aun Jus.
Actually, wait, I didn't catch that. Can you say that one more time?
Aun Jus.
Was that an N at the end of the first name, or was that?
We're gonna have to hear that one more time.
Aun. Well, a point to Beef Boy.
Inny Mini Money Mo, baby.
That's
Never
right.
fails.
Yes, Jan Hus advocated for educational and religious texts to be translated directly into Czech so that lay people could access them, for communion to be given wherever and whenever a person wanted,
Sorry for all
as
the
well
purring
as the
that you're
abolishment
gonna
of
be hearing.
indulgences. Basically a way for rich folks worried about all their sinning to pay the Catholic Church for a get-into-heaven free card, the Middle Ages equivalent of buying land in the metaverse.
Cool. What's a layperson?
You know, when they say like layman's terms.
I'm a layperson.
okay.
Wait, you're a what
I'm
person?
an Utz person.
What's that?
Ah, a chip joke! We give a jelly bean
What's
for
a
chip jokes
Wait, I
around
don't get.
here.
Wait.
You don't know? It's a Baltimore
It's a
thing,
potato
maybe.
chip brand.
It's just
Oh,
another
regional
potato chip.
chips.
Hey, what do you think of this? These indulgences, huh? This is the church saying, "Oh, what? You murdered someone? Well, pay me $50, and then you'll still get to go to heaven."
It's pretty nice, I would imagine.
That's pretty nice.
Honestly, I
Yeah.
mean, not that I've murdered anyone.
No,
And
no.
not that I would have enough money to pay off
No.
of murdering a person.
I mean, if I get to murder somebody and I just Venmo someone $50,
Yeah.
that sounds
Don't
like a
eat
good
my
deal.
cord.
Not that I've, well, successfully murdered somebody.
Yeah. Well, if you can believe it, the guy advocating to give people more control over their religious experience became pretty popular among the lower classes. Perhaps too popular. As on July 6th, 1415, Jan Hus was burned at the stake as a heretic, which is, of course, exactly what Jesus would have wanted.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as is often the case, however, burning a dude alive did not extinguish the religious movement. Hussites, as the followers of Jan Hus were known, continued to worship how they saw fit, and the Catholic authorities in Prague continued to find new ways to repress them, such as forbidding their priests from having their little communion snack time at all. Rude.
It's fucked up.
Gotta have my snacks.
No, you take a man away from his crackers, you're gonna have some problems.
Yeah.
Especially if that man is me.
I could go for some Ritz right now. Okay. By 1419, the Hussite priest Jan Zhelivsky, our third Jan for all you Jan fans out there, had had enough. Having proclaimed himself Jan Hus's successor and a prophet, on July 30th, 1419, Zhelivsky gave a sermon to his Hussite followers, where he quoted Matthew 7:15. Quote, "Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but are inwardly ravening wolves." An overt attack aimed at the Catholic top brass. Whew. Thank goodness no one here has to be aware of false prophets in sheep's clothing, right? We're all exactly as we seem.
Yeah.
With the crowd eating from his palm, Zhelivsky stepped up his rhetoric,
Are
setting
we, though?
examples of when the Bible mentions violence isn't that bad, such as Cain slaying Abel. At this point, his parishioners must have been frothing at the mouth, dying to use the weapons they brought to church that day. That's right, the Hussites showed up to worship armed. They knew what Zhelivsky had on the menu, and sister, oh, they were hungry. Zhelivsky ended his sermon and led his armed, delirious congregation through the streets to storm City Hall. Now try to imagine this, if you can. A bunch of radicalized, easily hoodwinked morons with absolutely nothing going on, listening to an insane person they love talk about violence and how unfair they've been treated. And then that group marches on the seat of government to conduct violence. Isn't that crazy? That's totally nuts, right?
It is crazy.
I can't think of any modern representations of
Were any of them wearing Viking hats?
Oh, shaman. Some Hussite shamans out there. Well, enough chit-chat. Let's get to the unwindowing. When the Hussites took town hall, they started chucking Catholic government officials out the window like it was going out of style. Again, feel free to picture this courtesy of the example window over there.
Yes.
Hey! Woo! How many people did the Hussites manage to toss out of the window atop town hall?
That window's
This is
gonna
an
come into
open-ended
play
question, but it's a
somehow.
number, and that number is between 0 and 400,000.
Oh,
Quite the chasm.
yeah, okay. Oh,
We should
then I
just, we
definitely
should just
many?
work together on this because you're going to get the point anyway. My thinking is there could only
Okay.
be so many windows.
Are we locked in?
locked in.
Ryan.
I went with 300.
You
just
could only
because,
throw so many
I remember
people.
in that movie,
The movie
he-
300?
The movie
the
300.
movie
I'm
300,
going
he
with
kicked that guy
25.
down the well, and I imagine that's what they did with these people.
It wasn't a well, it was a kicking pit.
His leg day pit.
Not enough kicking pits these days.
No, if there were kicking pits in every city, people would behave.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why you should make me president.
Brian, what do you got?
Just a slightly smaller number of 36.
36. Well, let's find out via the magic of theater.
Are we going to be seeing people get thrown
I
out
did
of a window right
25.
now?
God, I hope so.
Going with 25.
Yes, come along, disciples. What backs through yonder window shall we break? Oh, hello, Jan. I've got the
Quit being so
Burgermaster ready to
disruptive,
fly.
young man.
The Burgermaster, that's the town's comptroller? Well, he's basically the mayor. The mayor, yes, I knew that. Come on through. You got it, boss. Who's next? I also have a city councilman. Well, that last guy already got one of them, but the more the merrier. Okie dokie. Good. Hey, boss, I got another one of these guys. We got a whole bunch back there. I don't know, like maybe 7? I don't know.
I take it back. I would like to see 300
Yeah,
of these.
I want to see
Let's
him
go
do this
for it.
300 times.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Well, I haven't already checked him out the window. See ya. Okay, fuck this guy.
Something very funny about a powdered wig going headfirst through a window.
So 3
Yeah.
or 25?
Oh,
okay.
Point to Brian, as he was the closest. Well, there were about 10 people tossed
Wow.
out. Not about, there were 10 people.
Exactly.
That means
Tossed out the
arguably
window.
I was
So I was a
closest.
little off.
Just a little.
A little bit.
Okay.
A little off.
But I like your ambition there.
300.
Just to send a message.
I was a little
you know.
closer.
Okay,
So.
moving along.
Jelly bean crash.
Horse noses, horse noses. Oh, hey there. We're in the middle of a show here.
horse.
Wait, hang on a sec, aren't you? Yes, I'm Dorothy
What?
Ruth, the horse wife of Stanley
I'm
Melvin
stupid.
Murphy, the horse who
Wait,
was drowned in
he has
boiling
a name.
molasses back in season 3. Absolute banger of an episode, except for the part where it resulted in the untimely death of the love of my life.
And
Hey, what are you
arguably the
doing
best
here?
song of the entire
Right.
show.
Well, I'm just clopping in real quick to thank Scentbird for sponsoring today's episode. Oh, hell yeah. Tell us more. Scentbird is a fragrance subscription service that allows you to browse over 600 delicious delicious brands and receive a 30-day supply of a new fragrance every month. You've been jonesing for some fancy sniffs but don't want to buy a whole bottle? Well, your aromatic dreams are about to come true. Oh, that sounds nice and all, but I don't know nothing about smells. I only know about history. Don't worry, Professor. Just take a stab at Scentbird's fragrance recommendation quiz, and they'll set you on the right track. Let me give you a rundown. There's Versace Dylan, Pour Homme. Or how about Dolce & Gabbana, the one for men, for all you big old studs. Oh, cool. Or get your fuzzy ass blasted with Tiziana Terenzi, Cassiopeia. You want more? Kinda, yeah, you're really into this. Buckle your belt because I've saved the lustiest for last. Heretic Parfums Florgasm.
Okay.
Exactly what you'd imagine if a flower came to orgasm. This is in the official product description, by the way. It starts with a spark of pleasure, an animalistic musk that lingers on the skin with rich,
Nice.
leathery undertones. Oh, I didn't expect this to get so erotic. Make sure to
Always
click the link
expecting
below
it to
for
get
55% off your first month at Scentbird. That's only about $8 for your first month. And I also have exciting
Your
news.
butt on my
Scentbird is now available in Canada. Can't wait to smell good and maybe orgasm.
Oh my God.
All right, see you later,
Muse.
Teach.
No.
Clip, clop, clip, 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 clop, clop. Bye, Dorothy
clop,
Ruth. Clip. All right, now back to the lesson. So yeah, the Hussite insurrection resulted in as many as 10 people losing their lives by being hurled out of the window atop town hall that midsummer day. But why defenestration? Hurling someone from a window seems like a hard way to kill someone. Plus, it didn't even always result in the person dying.
Yeah.
The actual penal code in Bohemia. Are you laughing at penal?
No,
Okay,
I am.
don't do that.
a little bit.
He was.
I was. You said
Oh.
the penal code.
Well, the actual penal code in Bohemia had provisions for much more metal punishments, like being drowned, impaled,
Nice.
or broken beneath a wheel. Why not opt for one of those?
I want to get
question.
crushed by a wheel.
If you guys had to be executed in an extremely grisly, old-school metal way, how would you do it?
If they made like a giant cornhole board at the bottom of a pyramid and they were like, let's see if we can get his head in there.
Yes.
On the board is 1 point, in the hole is 3. I think that'd be really fun.
There's an old version of
That's
the
sick.
fairy tale Rumpelstiltskin where he sticks his foot deep into the ground and then he grabs his other foot and he rips himself in half. I've always thought that'd be a pretty cool way
I
to
want
go.
to get shot in the face through a cannon.
For any specific reason or just because?
Oh, for good reason, I hope. Well, the secret sauce that defenestration brought to the table was humiliation. As author Rick Prill says in his book, The Chimera of Prague, quote, "It's the act of vanquishing your enemy in the most dismissive way possible. It's a way of telling someone who is in power that they are no longer needed. Isn't it convenient to think that you can just chuck your problems out the window? It has a simplicity that is appealing."
I like that. I like the pettiness of it. I respect it.
Perhaps the most surprising thing about this first capital D defenestration, it kinda worked. Huss had been a popular guy, so lots of people looked upon his followers standing up for themselves favorably. With some spots suddenly open on the town council, the Hussites installed their own, which King Wenceslas of Bohemia, not the Christmas Carol guy, different Wenceslas, didn't even try to undo. For the next 17 years, Bavaria endured the Hussite Wars, with Zalewski having formed his own popular army to battle the Holy Roman Empire. But in March 1422, Zalewski would experience his own humiliating death. Oh, what happened? A. He was thrown from the top of his own church's steeple. B. He was decapitated, his head displayed on a pile of horse shit. Well, he liked that one.
I like that one.
Or C. He was fed to lions, specifically baptized into the Catholic faith.
That's very silly,
I'm-
and I want
very
that to
good.
be
I'm
the
going
truth.
with A because it's the most reasonable, but I'll probably be
Ryan,
wrong.
what do you got?
I'm a B poop pile. It just is funny. It made me laugh.
You like
I wish
Yeah,
it was
I went
B
with
though.
C, Catholic Lion Brunch.
Okay.
Yeah, that also sounds good.
Well, the jelly bean goes to Ryan.
What?
Kidding me? I thought that was something you made up. That's insane.
I mean, we
I
were
love
just
it.
talking about most embarrassing,
Oh, that's
and that does seem a little more
amazing.
embarrassing.
Making my head the topper of a little poop salad? That sounds hilarious.
Yeah.
I can't decide which of those jobs would be worse. The guy who has to shovel the shit over to it,
Yeah.
or the guy who has to sit with the horse and just be like, all right, no, eat more apples.
Yeah,
Come
try to-
on,
try to
we're-
induce
This
the
is
shit."
not enough of a pile.
Just gotta feed a horse
Okay.
Arby's for 5 hours.
Yeah, dude, come
Baby
on,
boy.
come on, we need a specimen.
Yes, a
I
conservative
love you
alderman
too,
tricked him
but
into a meeting where
you're
he
getting in the
and as
way.
many as a dozen of his comrades were beheaded. Shalivsky's head is said to have then been displayed on a heap of manure in the town square. The Hussite Wars would rage for another 14 years.
That is very
He
funny.
made his own army, but it seems like his army was only good at one specific type of violence, which was throwing people out of windows.
Maybe, yeah. They were
And
like,
so-
we can't fight you out here. We got to go to the library. We've climbed a lot of stairs in preparation for this. We've got great calves.
Also, it probably brought commerce to the city. People want to go see the poop head, saw it. Now let's go get some, like a baguette or something in town.
Yeah.
Maybe shop a little bit.
I could go for a
Stop by the
baguette.
Crate and Barrel, see
Yeah.
a decapitated head on a pile of poop.
Wow, it really is there.
Well, the next big defenestration was in 1483, and once again, it was the Hussites tossing the king's men out a window in response to religious repression.
Nice.
In this case, it may have been the victims were killed in a coup and then tossed out the window, but since the act is primarily symbolic anyway, it still counts, though barely. Since this defenestration didn't start a war like the last one did, and the next one will, spoiler, many scholars barely count it. That's how into defenestration Prague was. The mayor could be tossed out a window, and it could barely merit a mention, because it wasn't as cool as the other times that happened. Defenestration is kind of like a cover of your favorite song. If you're not doing something original with it, why even bother?
Yeah, it's getting a little stale at this point. Needs something to spice it up.
Yeah.
Also, do you think it felt really bad for the person who like killed the dude before the defenestration happened? Because I'm sure that was like a boss scenario of being like, no, you weren't supposed to kill him now.
You just got
You have
carried
to-
away.
Oh, you ruined the whole thing. Can you like do a little weekend at Bernie's before we go and do that?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm doing fine, and then chuck him out the window
That's
before.
true. It's poorly executed.
That's why we're not spending any time on it, because frankly, lazy.
Yeah.
You killed them, but did it tell a story?
Right. Now, one riff that was a bit more memorable was the defenestration of Prague in 1618. Well, by the 1600s, complaints about the Catholic Church had only grown, and what had been a small case of the heresies with the Hussites was now a full-blown Protestant Reformation. No longer just a collection of fringe groups, the equally attractive non-Catholic beliefs had swept through most of Europe, no longer something a pope could expect to burn away at the stake.
Do you think people were turned off from the church because of all the throwing people through windows for the past 200 years?
No.
If anything, they're like, okay, burning people, old news.
Yeah.
These folks, they got their heads on straight.
They got that hot new sound.
Yeah, they got that hot new sound they're looking for. I like what I see in the brochure here. Where do I sign up?
With the Catholic Church's relatively diminished power, the Protestants of Bohemia finally no longer felt burdened by Catholic corruption in their government. The pesky thing about corruption, however, is that it's never ever too far from power. Ferdinand II, the Catholic Habsburg king and emperor, began to throw his weight around in areas with a lot of Protestant residents, areas like Prague. The Protestant Bohemian aristocracy, in turn, tried to find a way to usurp the Habsburg king and replace him with a Protestant king instead. This, upset the king, who, in 1618, decreed all Protestant churches in the, quote, Catholic crown lands in Bohemia were to be destroyed. These churches, settle down. Take a seat, you know?
I mean, I guess there's nothing else on the TV, so
Yeah.
There is
it's
no
stuck on this
TV.
channel. Might as well enjoy it.
Obviously upset, on May 23rd, 1618, the Protestant Bohemian nobles marched on Prague's castle, seized the Holy Roman Emperor's representatives, and held a mock trial where 3 men were, surprise, surprise, found guilty. The convicts, 2 imperial regents, Willem Slavata of Chlum and Václav Božita of Martinice, and their secretary, Philippe Fabricius, were apparently surprised when they were not arrested and taken to jail, but instead led to one of the council chamber's 3rd-story windows and asked for their hats. Rude shit.
What a rude awakening to be
So-
in that trial, and they're like, oh, we're not going to bring you to jail. We're going upstairs. It's like, oh, phew.
Yeah.
Upstairs? I know what's upstairs. It's a nice, beautiful, like, lounge area.
So they just got
Have a couple drinks
fired.
with the bros.
Such a stunning view from up there.
Yeah, bad time.
Very rude to take the hats, too. I mean,
Yeah.
Well,
mean-
no point in ruining a good hat.
I mean, imagine someone just leading you across this room to that example window over there, taking your hat, and then just chucking you out of it like a football.
They knew it was going to happen, though. Like, when they said, please remove your hats, it wasn't like they were thinking, like, what, someone singing the national anthem? They knew they were about to get thrown out of a window.
I'd protest. I'd be like,
Oh.
no, I want to keep my hat.
If you keep the hat on, maybe they won't do
That's
it.
that's the trick, is if you didn't say, oh, here, you can have my hat, then they're like, you figured out my riddle. You got my riddle. You get to stick around.
You're the first person to say that. You live.
Well, the first to cross the sill, a euphemism I've coined just this moment, was Borgetta. As soon as he realized where he was headed, he started praying and called out, Jesus Maria, as he fell. In response, one of the defenestrators replied, we'll soon see whether his Mary helps him out. He didn't laugh like that, but...
That's the best 80s action line I've heard pre-1980s. That's fantastic.
Well, it turns out Mary maybe did help him out. In fact, Borgetta, Slavata, and Fabricius all survived their fall.
But then they took them
Nice.
back upstairs and just did it again, right?
I don't know. How did they survive their fall? A, their billowy clothes created enough drag to slow their descent.
Nice.
B, what the Protestants thought was a third-story window was actually just a mezzanine. Or
I don't
C,
know what a mezzanine
they fell
is.
into a pile of horse shit.
I'm going with C. Or shit.
Yeah.
Are we locked in? Yeah.
T-Dogs?
Okay. Ryan, what do you
Yeah,
got?
I'm going to go B for blunder.
Oh,
Yeah,
come
I'm
Also
on.
doing the mezzanine mistake.
B-boys.
B-boys. Got my
Oh my
B-boys out
God.
there. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Basketball. I can't remember what this joke is. Okay, we're going to find out via the magic
What
computer.
is
I'll see you guys in
going
a bit.
on?
But it's very funny to imagine them being like, did we walk up one flight of stairs?
Yeah.
Ah! I'm falling! I am currently falling!
I too am currently falling. Oh, Slavata, is that you?
Margita! Of course it's me. I see you've crossed the sill as well. Cross the sill? That's a great euphemism. Thank you. But we have only to fall 30 cubits. Shouldn't we have landed by now? Yes, it seems like we're taking some liberties here for the majesty of theater. That's true. You know, I really can't believe this is it. Oh, don't give up hope. Perhaps angels will slow our fall. A sploosh. I'm alive.
Me too. What did I tell you? The angels slowed our fall.
No, do you smell something?
Oh, did we land in?
Yeah, we landed in horse shit.
Well, at least we're alive. Let's go tell King Ferdinand. Oh, he's gonna be so mad.
Maybe we should go with that angel story, though. The horse shit is kind of embarrassing.
I agree.
Now I understand why they beheaded the dude before putting it in the horseshit pile, because of the miraculous properties of horseshit.
And honestly, this is what happens when you cut corners.
Right.
Oh, points to neither of you.
Did you purposely deliver that constipated?
No, that's funny, sure. Some think the angle of the hill where they fell also helped, or that their clothes helped cushion their fall. Well, we know what happened.
Oh, so I
They
was
fell
right,
into a big
duh.
old pile of dookie.
How big was this pile of
So
shit?
C.
There's
Horse
a
shit.
lot of piles of shit around.
Yeah,
Horse
impressive.
is
I'm just
shit
picturing
a
like a
lot.
Jurassic Park style pile of shit.
Sure.
Nice.
The worst thing to fall
Wow,
into, honestly.
that's one big pile
It's
of
pretty
shit.
bad.
Maybe like falling into a big old pile of chocolate fudge.
If I'm gonna get picky about the things I'm gonna get thrown into.
Yeah, I mean, would prefer it not to be horse shit.
Yeah. When Borgetta and Slavata pulled themselves from the muck and retreated to Vienna to relay the incident to an irate Ferdinand II, his administration immediately started spinning the story, saying that benevolent Catholic angels
My
had
cat
prevented
is
the
tearing
royal
up
agents
my
from
couch,
falling to their deaths.
but it'll
Borgetta
be okay.
claimed, quote, the most holy and honorable Virgin Mary had appeared as his sublime patroness, and with her cloak spread out beneath him, she slowed his free fall. While Slavata commissioned
I
a now
apologize for
famous
that.
painting depicting angels saving him, granting him the meaningless status of, quote, near martyr. Of course, the Protestants claimed the three Catholics were saved not by angels, but by witchcraft.
Nice.
Why can't I be described as
course.
a near martyr?
Brian David Gilbert, near martyr.
It's finally happened.
Yep.
There it is. You got the graphic and everything.
Yeah.
Look at it.
Got the graphic.
It's right there.
We don't hand those out often on this show.
I
Well,
love
like
it.
the first Fen, the defenestration of Prague of 1618 marked the start of a war. One of the most destructive wars that Europe had yet seen, and the first war in European history to involve most of the great powers. Extraordinarily violent, responsible for millions of deaths and
When is
millions
Eugene
more
gonna be
refugees.
on
That
Puppet
war
History? He's
was,
the only
of
Try
course,
guy who
What?
hasn't been on here.
A, the 30 Years' War. B, the War of the Roses. Or C, the 80 Years' War.
Can we see?
Ryan writing a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, Ryan, what do you got?
I put C.
What are you
80.
doing?
Well, I chose C as well. 80
Oh,
Years
nice.
War. Just because I figured that it'd be more deadly if there were 50 more of those years. Right?
That's just
You know?
simple math.
Man, that's a long-ass war.
Conceivably, someone's entire life was just that war.
Yeah, that sucks. Points to neither of you!
Jesus Christ.
30 years and 5 months after this defenestration of Prague, the war that started with some dudes being hurled out a window into horseshit ended with the Peace of Westphalia. What the Peace of Westphalia didn't end, however, was Prague's defenestration habit. Less than 8 months shy of the 300th anniversary of the Peace of Westphalia, Jan Masaryk, remember him, was found on the ground outside his apartment. Spooky.
Nice.
Was it a bathrobe?
Yeah. I remembered that detail because I'm kind of a bathrobe guy now, and I never had been. But the pandemic, mine has a hood too, which is nice. I feel like a fucking Jedi.
Or like a boxer.
That's great.
I'm more Jedi in my mind.
Okay. Well, Masaryk's murder is, so far, the most recent defenestration of Prague, but who can say if it'll be the last? History is long, and it's not like the world's suddenly a stranger to violent regime changes. So, if you ever find yourself above ground level in Prague and someone gets that funny look in their eye, you know the one. The one that's looking to seize power in a violent and symbolic fashion? Well, we'll cross that sill when we come to it.
Very good. Step away from the windows.
Yeah, make sure you do not get rid of your hat.
No,
That's
have to
true.
hang on
keep
to that
that
thing
on.
with your life.
If I'm a person in this time, I'm making sure my house has no windows, no natty light.
No windows at all.
Nope,
You should live your life in fear like that. I think that's a good way to guide your...
I already do.
Okay. Any final thoughts?
Look, if they manage to make
Ryan
like,
Vidora
jousting
just lives in
into
a
just like
bunker.
a fun game that they have,
I fully believe
if
that.
I saw this amount of martial war happening, being people thrown out of windows, why haven't they turned it into a sport?
Well, they would love to see it in the Olympics.
Would be great.
Yeah, just slap a target on the ground, see how many people could get in the center.
That'd be great.
Just the satisfying noise of glass shattering every time someone goes for it.
Here comes the American team. He's gonna want that one back. Did not get a hold of that one out the window.
Well, that concludes our history lesson. I'm going to go tally the scores to see who receives the title of History Master. While I do that, please enjoy this special performance from A Window. Bye. Ready?
Yep. Just a window.
Whoa, stained
hi.
glass.
Pretty.
The air of tension indicates today is not somebody's day. Well, around these parts, we've got a way to say we're not too happy with the job that you've been doing here in Prague. Knock, knock, who's there? It's just an angry mob. Go on and make right with your God because you're going out the window. You're going down, 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 down. Yes, you're going out the window. That's how we deal with folks like you in this here town. Oh no. Look out below.
Number one window stand. I love it.
And that's the last thing that you'll hear when whistling upwards past your ears. As cobblestones below draw quickly near, and as you plummet to your death in shattered shards, your eyes will catch reflections of yourself as you gasp your final terrifying breaths. And with a final splat, that's that gravity seals your epitaph and signs off on the year behind the dash. Because you're going out the window. Throw a fit scream, you can put up a hell of a fight, but we're gonna guarantee that you don't miss your flight. You're going out the window. Well, there's a new jet craze and it's going around in which our enemies are quickly introduced to the ground. I'll bet you never could have guessed your wretched life would end in such a violent mess. I'm sure we've all got our regrets, but they so rarely lead to being being swept up off your feet by angry folks who love to see you hurling, screaming through the air. I know it sucks, but there's there. You were an asshole, so your splintered bones and guts will pay the streets below. You really fucked it up, my guy, so out you go. It's time to fly, tell your God it's time to eat. Come on, bro, it's time to eat. You'll go it.
Huh? Is that... Is that the victory algorithm?
Folks like you in this here town.
How did you book him? I thought
This is
Window was
so-
super busy these days.
I don't know.
Ominous.
That's incredible.
If you say so.
We finally
what
saw
a soaring
the victory
performance! Now, let's see how we did. Oh, according to the victory algorithm, you guys are never going to believe this, but this week's history master is Ryan Bergara! Oh my God!
What the fuck?
Kidding me right now?
Hey, after a slow start these
Yeah,
first
dude.
four
Oh, wow.
seasons, you really
Sorry.
appear to be hitting your stride. Oh, Brian, are you?
I
you
know
all
what
right,
it feels
buddy?
like. I know what it feels like.
It's all
Oh.
right.
Sense.
It's okay.
If it makes you feel any
Ryan.
better, he's up to something. So.
No, I don't know about that. Brian, come get your prize. As I said, the
What is
puppet
it?
cups are
It's
on
more
back order,
like-
but here you go. Get your puppet cream
Yeah, my victory cream.
It's more
to
low.
moisturize. That about does it for this week. Brian, thanks for joining us. For the rest of you, thanks for watching Puppet History, where the details are always a little fuzzy.
A little
See you next
fuzzy.
week.
Are
Bye.
they?
Great job, everybody. You good, Professor?
I'm good. Thank you, Brittany.
Damn it.
What's up, Beef?
I just lost an auction.
Whoa, what you in the market for?
What are you doing, Cat?
Sneakers. You know me.
Definitely not a genie lamp or anything.
You didn't happen to be at the studio last night, did you?
Me in the studio last night? that's ludicrous. No, I went home to my house and slept in my bed. Why do you ask?
No, there was just some scuttling in the studio, some scuttling in the night.
Rats.
What?
It was probably
Rats.
rats. The Watcher studio is full.
Sure.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of that nowadays. Well, you need a ride home?
No, I actually am gonna stick around tonight. I've got some work to do.
Do you now?
You said that pretty evil.
No, normal work.
Well, I'm off for the
Okay.
weekend then. Have a good one.
You too.
What are you planning? Not, Professor. Is he gonna throw Ryan out that window? What is going on? Meanwhile, 66 million years ago. What are you playing with? Okay, but what happened after you hatched? Okay. What does this mean? Is it the professor or is it not? I don't know. And why does he keep giving Ryan lotion? This is all very weird. But the story was interesting, and I think I got 2 answers right, so I'm doing better. Okay, one of them was like close enough, I think. So I don't know. Anyway, that was Season 5, Episode 2, Reacting to Puppet History. To the 2 people who watched this, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.